Harry Potter was the biggest franchise of the 2000s, making $7.7 billion, but they actually ran into some issues midway through production of the movies, and it was all because of China. Harry Potter focuses on creating a world that takes all different types of fantasies and puts it into one, with one big one being Ghost and one very familiar character being Sir Nicholas Flamel, aka Nearly Headless Nick. There's also another big ghost from the franchise named Peeves that a lot of fans of the book and also the games know, but never made into the movies. What a lot of people don't know is that ghost actually was in the first Harry Potter movie played by Rick Mayall, but he never made it into the final cut. And that's because Harry Potter director Chris Columbus said there just wasn't enough room for Peeves in the first movie, and he tried to get him into a director's cut, but Warner never approved it. But that was the explanation for one ghost getting removed. It wasn't the explanation for why in the following movies after the second one, the ghosts are almost completely removed unless they have a direct plot and a story. The big example being a conversation in the fifth book between Harry Potter and Nearly Headless Nick on why Sirius Black would never come back as a ghost, which disappointed Harry, and that was a big scene in the book, but never made it into the movie. And it wasn't because of technical limitations or anything story related, which is why they decided to get rid of the ghost in Harry Potter, but it was actually because of China becoming a major fan base for Harry Potter. Explaining this, in 2001, the highest grossing movie in China was a film called Shadow Magic, which was a low-budget Chinese film, and there was almost no audience for American movies in China. Then cut to 2011, and China was spending $2 billion every year on American movies, with one big example from 2011 being Transformers 2, which actually made $175 million there for 16% of the total gross. The big problem is China is a regulation nightmare where they don't have a lot of freedom of speech, so because of that, the government can turn down any movie for any reason. And just an example of this, here's the ending of Fight Club that we all know and love. But on the flip side, here's the lame ending that China had. And the reason China did that ending for Fight Club is they don't like any ending that questions authority, and that was actually a big reason Marvel decided to change the character around from Mandarin to have a white guy playing the character in Iron Man 3. And that's because the character of Mandarin in the Marvel comics is very against the Chinese Communist Party, so Marvel knew that would never fly, so they completely rebooted the character. And that was also the reason Tilda Swinton, who's a white woman, played the character of the Ancient One, who's normally portrayed as a Tibetan man, and the entire reason they changed that was because they didn't want to seem pro-Tibet. Again, for studios, it's all about the money, where Avengers Endgame made $632 million just in China, being 22% of the total gross, so that's why they make these changes. Going back to Harry Potter, the fan base for the books is actually huge in China, where they've sold 200 million copies of the book, and it's estimated that for kids who grew up in that generation, 50% of them read at least one Harry Potter book. At the same time, when it comes to the movie world, there was this issue that China actually really hates any movies that have anything to do with the supernatural, which is why Ghostbusters 2015 was banned, and anything ghost-related for the Ghostbusters movies or anything horror have actually been banned as well. So because China's so strict on the supernatural, it impacted how Harry Potter shot the movies, where they got rid of a lot of the ghosts because they were afraid of being banned in China. Things like this even impacted the book, where there were some rumors that J.K. Rowling actually wanted Dumbledore to be openly gay in the final book, but the reason they ultimately went against that was because they were afraid of China, Russia, and a few other countries banning the book if they made him gay. And the whole purpose of this video is really just to show how when you have countries that value freedom of speech, making movies for audiences that have countries that don't value the freedom of speech can actually impact what we can say as well, and that's just a huge problem with that. I'm Charles Perrault. Subscribe to learn something.